Mark, let's talk about land tax, where, again, the New South Wales government, they find new ways to disappoint. They're talking about potentially this flip in a system where you go from stamp duty to land tax. Now, I haven't been able to dig deep enough to be able to see if they're talking about that a line gets ruled under all existing property and then the system changes for all new exchanges after a certain date, or whether this is a dirty back deal. This gets backdated. I almost did the Benny Elias there. It gets backdated, and we all end up having to pay for something we've already paid for with stamp duty. What's going on here?
No, they won't backdate it. The idea is that instead of paying a big amount of money up front in your stamp duty when you purchase a property, they could put you into a second option, and that is to pay a smaller amount each year ongoing in land tax for the period which you own the property. So I suppose if you're sort of one of the people who moves around and speculates on the property market, wouldn't be much of that in the coming years. And you think you only own this property for 5 years and you move on, well, you take the land tax option, which will save you money over the 5-year period. If you're going to stay there for 20 or 30 years and you don't want to pay land tax for that duration, you'd pay your normal stamp duty upfront to clear the expense and not have any further impost for the next 20 or 30 years of that property ownership. So, the problem with stamp duty is that it punishes mobility. It's a big upfront tax that stops people from moving around, and in our modern economy, mobility is a good thing. So I think opening up an option for people to pay in the second stream a smaller amount of land tax every year is not a bad micro reform.
It's a terrible idea.
Mobility, gives people choice, gives taxpayers choice, which in itself is a good thing.
Rita, terrible idea, I hear you say.
Terrible idea. If you want to increase people's tax bill, then it's a great idea, because yes, you might not pay that mass sum initially, but in the long run, you will pay a great deal more, and you will have the bracket creep that comes with increased property prices and the increased land tax that you pay. That is just a terrible idea, and the only reason state governments are considering it is because it's going to increase their revenue. They're not doing it as a favour to property owners.
Well, that's the choice of the taxpayer, and I think in the immediate period, everyone would expect land values will go down. And
if they go down, it'll be for a 12-month period.
Rita,
we
surely
know property prices double every 10 years on average in Australia. So and we've already seen the experience of land tax across the country. People who already pay land tax for the property that they don't live in, their residence. The tax bill has absolutely exploded because property prices go up and the brackets don't move up with them. And so the rate you pay just increases exponentially.
Rita, given a choice, you're smart enough to beat that evil Dan Andrews' wily tax plan. He's trying to trick you here into taking the stamp duty and not the land tax stream. You're smart enough to outsmart him in an environment where land values are going down. Don't undersell yourself there, Rita.
No. Well, I don't have a choice. If they bring this in and they get rid of stamp duty, every property owner is going to be paying this tax for as long as they hold their property.
No, getting rid of stamp duty. You make it a choice. You can pay the stamp duty up front when you buy the property, or you can go into the land tax regime and pay a smaller amount every year for the next 20 years or however long you own the property. It's a choice.
And eventually they'll get rid of the one that's less profitable, which will be stamp duty is a ridiculous tax. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. All right, let's. I don't like when mum and dad fight like that, but anyway, let's get to. You can see what family I grew up in. Now that's just a normal Australian one in the 80s. How did any marriage make it through the 80s?